Sounding exquisite.
Oh shit, we back again. What's up, what's happening? Come to the party and bring a friend. Fuck it, I'm bringing 10. Ooh, trying to chat a 10. Big boy trying to chat a 10. She said I was catchy. I said, so tap him in.
Touchdown!
Double cup, wow, I stuck smile when I puff loud. I touch clouds, catching touchdowns in my mind now, cause I'm zoned out. On a porch couch in the iCloud. 2 coughs and I'm back now. 2 coughs and I'm packed out. Somebody give me a drink before I gotta sit down. I'm making hits now with a smooth style.
Oh, yeah. It's the Trash Talk Tailgate. We're back. We're here. The off season, there's been chaos. There's been momentum. All kinds of things are happening. And the Trash Talk Tailgate, me, Riley, Puddin' Peters, my dog, the defensive backs quality control coach, Preston Rowe, the Trash Talk Tailgate. We're here to guide you through the off season.
Mm-hmm.
There's been so much going on.
So much to do. Even just today. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, by the day, news stories in the football world breaking by the hours, but definitely by the days. And, there's a lot of things. I mean, I think right off the top, we're going to talk about how we're going to try to bring a little bit more structure to the program as we go.
Yes.
And right off the beginning, we're going to do one of our new segments. We call it Off-Season Overhype. It's so excessive, but it's so beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
Part of all season overhype in our minds, one of the big things when you think about the concept of off season overhype is obviously the combine. And this is one of the first big steps in the off season when it comes to the new guys coming in, the path to the draft.
Yep.
The draft is one of the biggest things in the NFL because it's, an injection of new talent every year. And
everyone has hope.
Everyone's got hope.
Yeah.
A lot of the people in the position to make these decisions are stupid.
Yes.
I mean, incredibly. So with this path to the draft, with this, these essential moments where you gotta, who are we going to pick? Who's our guy going to be? You get one pick around base. Obviously, you can trade around to get more. There's strategy. There's what are you going to do? What's the value of an individual when it comes to stuff like draft picks, when it comes to stuff like, what positions do we need? What needs to be filled? All these decisions. And all these decisions lead to plenty of decisions that can be absolutely bungled.
It's true.
And
it's true.
That's where we lead to the combine, where guys doing games in their undergarments.
Yeah, Riley, what's the official name of the scouting combine on the TTT?
It's the Underwear Olympics.
Exactly.
Absolutely, man. And
they're not even in helmets.
Dude, they're not. Yeah, no. They're barely in cleats.
They are.
They're barely in cleats. And every year we get, a fresh crop of guys who, maybe they make themselves a media darling, a quote, a soundbite. Maybe they have an excellent drill in underwear.
Yes.
A 40 that's insane for their size.
Yeah.
Or an insane catch. As a quarterback is throwing on air. These things create hype. They create, media clips. It's insane how crazy it just builds and builds. And all of a sudden you got guys like you said, I mean, if we go Shamar Stewart, he's a big one that everyone's been talking about.
So, Riley, can I set this up?
Absolutely, please.
This drives me insane. And Riley, you know how I feel about this. Every single year, for some reason, the NFL Combine, the Underwear Olympics, it allows guys to have their draft stocks skyrocket, or in some cases plummet, when they haven't been playing football. Like, how does your draft stock get significantly better when you haven't put on pads and hit someone across from you? I've never understood that. I've said this for a long time, Riley, and I will die on this hill. And I know NFL GMs don't always agree with it, and that's why you're going to get fired in 2 years with a fucking 3-14 record, because you don't know how to build a team. You don't know what football players are. Anyway, how the NFL scouting combine should be a confirmation of what you see on tape. You really like a guy's tape that you study all throughout college? Oh, this receiver looks really fast on tape. I'm going to see what he runs in the 40. And if he runs a 4.3 or a 4.4 40, they're like, okay, this edge rusher looks like he's really fast and really explosive, and he bends well. And then you see his 3-cone or his bag drills, and he looks really explosive. He looks the part. You're confirming what you see on tape with actual numbers. But if the dude is not a good football player, you cannot draft someone based solely on their numbers in underwear. You have to confirm what you see on tape. And this is a prime example. I mean, Riley, we said it 2 years ago. Who was the quarterback that wasn't very good in college that fucking skyrocketed and was taken 4th overall by the Indianapolis Colts?
Amen. AR-15, but if you take a little bit of the specifics off of that, the names are endless.
It's true.
I mean, you take a couple of those last specifics off, there's lots of people that fit that bill.
I mean, Riley, he can throw the ball 80 yards when he only has to throw it 30. But, God, dude, did you see his vertical jump?
Yeah, dude.
Like,
he's so fast, not in pads.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, dude, quarterbacks are always going to have to vertical jump. But so I don't want to call out this kid. It's really the media that does this that drives me insane. I have no ill will towards these players, but I want to talk about Texas A&M edge rusher Shamar Stewart. Shamar Stewart, in 3 years at Texas A&M as a starter, had 4.5 sacks as an edge rusher. Okay. But he ran a 4.59 40-yard dash, and now he's projected as a top 15 draft pick. Riley, does that make sense to you?
I mean, it's some that's some weird numbers. I'm gonna be honest.
And if anything, the 40-yard dash should be an indictment. Like, if you're that athletic, if you're that size, he's 6'4", 265 pounds. Like, if you're that big and run that fast, you should dominate in college.
Yeah,
should
absolutely.
you not? Like, I don't know. I mean, he played with Nick Scorton, who played alongside him on the defensive line at Texas A&M. Nick Scorton had 5 sacks last year. He had 10 sacks the year before. In 2 years, he had 15 sacks. And this kid in 3 years has 4.5. But he's one of the best edge rushers in this draft. He's projected to go 15 to the Atlanta Falcons. Like, that's what I'm seeing. And it's like, by the way, the Falcons, it seems like for the last 4 or 5 years, everyone has said they desperately need an elite pass rusher, and they just refuse to draft one. They'd rather draft Michael Penix. What?
Let's see if they skip on this guy.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it would be smart if they did. I don't get it, man. I mean, at a certain point, your production and your tape have to matter. Like, that is always going to be the end-all, be-all. Are you a great football player? I don't give a shit if you're a great athlete in underwear. Are you a great football player? And this kid did not dominate on a really good Texas A&M defensive line.
Yep.
I don't get it.
It's this point where you have workouts, these individual moments that have no impact. And by impact, I don't mean like belief impact. I mean impact like force hitting impact.
Mm-hmm.
Like these things that are, I mean, you know, a 40 speed is obviously important for a defensive end, but there's more than just straight line speed. There's, you know, vertical speed, but none of these drills test everything together. It's like individual pieces. It's like looking at a puzzle of an athlete and trying to piece it together. And a lot of people just take in one single individual piece and they pick it up and they go, look at it. It's beautiful. Hey, Daniel, we appreciate you. Yeah, Justin Ross. I mean, listen.
That's a deep cut for Riley.
That's one that, but it's such another obvious example. And he was fast, but he was fast in college, and it was this thing where they were like, well, he just had this, John, he had this injury, and it took him out, and he was missing a lot of tape on the back end of his college career because of it. And they took, the combine, the speed, the 40 time, the catching in the combine, his pro day, and put him in the top 10 with that. And you're right, he just, I mean, record speed is something I'm willing to gamble on.
Yes. And we need to define record speed, Isaiah Bond.
Hold on.
Yeah. Like
Isaiah Bond. Also, hold on. Before we go any farther, there's a bit of breaking news I think you're going to be interested in.
Yes.
Are you watching the screen?
I am. Oh my God, dude. As we're live. That's crazy.
I mean, breaking news. We are live here in the Trash Talk Tailgate. Josh Allen and the Bills, 6-year, $330 million contract, $250 million guaranteed. The Bills are interested in wasting their money. Any hot takes? No, I'm just
He's
kidding.
worth
Josh,
it. He's one of the few quarterbacks. I mean,
I'm talking shit. No, he's trash, dude. Fuck him. He doesn't deserve that contract. He can go sit down somewhere. How's his Super Bowl record?
It's true. It's true.
How's his AFC Championship record? Let's ask that one.
So we're gonna talk about this later on.
We can talk more about this later. It broke. I just saw it break, and I figured it would be cool as we're live and it's breaking. To bring it.
Well, Riley, I do want to say something about this. We're going to talk about quarterback contract situations a little bit later, so stay tuned for that. But there's only about 5 quarterbacks at most that I think you could argue legitimately are worth that amount of money, and more importantly, that percent of a team's salary cap.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I think obviously Patrick Mahomes, which is crazy because Patrick Mahomes only makes $45 million a year. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and then I don't know, like, who else do you think is really worth that money?
Ooh.
I think it's those 4, and then I'd say Matthew Stafford probably.
Yeah,
because he won the Super Bowl, but after that, it's like you think CJ Stroud will be worth it. But he kind of regressed.
Yeah, he's an iffy. Yeah,
he is iffy. He kind of regressed a little this year.
I mean, that amount of money, I don't know. I think you're right. I think it's 4. I don't think it's much of a decision. I think it's about like 4 or 5. Oh, yeah.
Dak Prescott's not worth it.
Nah, for sure.
Trevor Lawrence isn't worth it.
Yeah.
I know that pains you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But for sure. That's crazy money. So, yeah.
Good for Josh Allen, dude. That's awesome.
Josh Allen. And I want to just go back to where we were and to react to Daniel, his newest comment. I do get it. You're right. Running crazy in a straight line isn't always helpful. There is some argument with a wide receiver where you're talking like if you have a guy like that can run an incredible go route, you have this one weapon that is actually kind of insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very one direction weapon, which isn't great.
Yeah.
Also, breaking news, Devontae Adams to the Rams.
It's a lot of breaking news today, dude.
We were going to talk about that one a little later.
Yep.
Just because wide receivers, Josh Allen felt way more important. But
yeah,
no,
I didn't even know that.
Back to the thing though. Isaiah Bond. We got to get back. We can't let him get away this easy.
He's not gonna slide, bro.
He's not gonna slide. No, he's definitely not gonna slide to a 4.2 kind of speed. He ain't got that kind of slide to him for sure.
No.
Isaiah Bond. Obviously, there was this, back and forth between him and Xavier Worthy where they're talking about just speed, who's faster. Isaiah Bond said he was going to break Xavier Worthy's record, the 4.21, and
which is ridiculous.
And
like that
doubles down multiple times to say, like, he doesn't just say that. He doubles down multiple times, going as far as, I'm going to break the record tomorrow for sure. He said on Friday, I anticipate running 4.20, possibly might even run in 4.1s.
That's, I mean, he's got confidence. I'll give him that.
Love the confidence.
Yeah.
Came in with a 4.39.
He wasn't even the fastest Texas Longhorn. His teammate Matthew Golden ran a faster 40 than he did.
That's crazy.
I mean,
let's go.
It's just, if you're going to talk that level of shit, you got to back it up. You better back it up.
Yeah, I mean, he's ninth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. He's ninth in the class.
Ninth. Not
That's
first.
insane. Not first.
Not first.
Didn't break the record.
Nope.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, 4.39 is fast. I mean, that dude is lightning. That dude might be so fast he makes other fast people look not fast.
It's true.
But he's not so fast that he makes fast people that make other fast people look not fast. He's not that fast.
I don't know, Riley.
Try saying that sentence.
Yeah. A wise man once said, if you come for the king, you best not miss.
No. Isaiah Bond missed. Just like the Longhorns missed out on a national championship this year.
They did.
Just like how his coach in college missed on being respected by most of the world.
It's true.
He missed and missed big.
Yeah, dude. Sark missed his AA meetings. What?
Oh, missed him.
Anyway.
But that's the thing. This is what you get out of this offseason point. You have these moments where it's just, all these players are doing different workouts. Obviously, you get guys like Abdul Carter, the foot injury. He didn't go to the combine. He's not going to work out to pro day at the end of March. And you have all of these ingredients involved in the hype cake. Hype cake. It's a hype train. Nah, it's a hype cake.
And Riley, I have a question.
Man.
I have a question for you because you mentioned Abdul Carter and like Travis Hunter didn't work out. Some of the like top guys typically opt not to do anything at the combine because when you're that highly regarded, all it can do is hurt you.
For sure.
Like if people think Travis Hunter's a really great athlete, what if he runs a 4.5? Like people are gonna be like, "Oh, is he really that? Like, is he really that fast? Is he really that explosive?" Yeah. It's like, which I think is dumb.
For sure.
Just watch the tape, but that's how NFL GMs and scouts think. And that's why most of them are going to get fired in 2 years. Hashtag hire the TTT.
Hashtag hire the TTT.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of legit talent in the draft. And that's kind of the thing is like, there's guys all over, right? It's not just, obviously the Power 5 supplies most of the talent in the NFL, sure. But there's guys all over that are talented. And it takes a disciplined and measured observer to really kind of weed through all of the BS and find the players. And then, on top of that, you also got to have a coach that's ready to, utilize and game plan to use these talent in the right ways. But
I think you're right, Riley. That's a great point that I don't think a lot of people think of. Like, you can't just draft, based on, I really like this guy's 40 time. This guy's really fast. And this guy, as an edge rusher, he bends really well. You have to have a plan for them as a coaching staff and as a program. Like, you have to have an idea of how this guy is going to fit into our offense or our defense. And then you have to develop them. And, not all these guys are going to come into the league like ready-made, like out the box, ready to go. You have to develop them. And you have to put time in. You have to have a real plan. A prime example of someone who was like blatantly misused in their career, I would die on this hill. Tavon Austin in a Jeff Fisher offense.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Tavon Austin obviously is a legendary talent. Considered one of the greatest highlight tapes ever.
Yeah. No argument from me. And Jeff Fisher's like, hey, Tavon Austin's really good in space. Let's not get him in space.
Yeah.
Let's why? Like, why? I don't know. Yeah. So do you have anyone that you think is kind of overhyped right now, Riley?
So there's someone who it's not that I necessarily think is overhyped. I guess, it's a weird one, but Trevor Etienne, obviously brother of Travis Etienne, running back out of Georgia, had a very iffy season with the Bulldogs. Was truly overshadowed eventually by some of his teammates. And, he's kind of getting a lot. He has had some pretty good workouts at the combine, and now he is just getting all kinds of like gas, all kinds of boost. What he had truly was an inconsistent tape.
Yeah. That's not all his fault. Georgia had an inconsistent offensive line this year.
They did have a very inconsistent offensive line, but there's also there was literally freshman backup running backs around him that had comparative, if not just straight better seasons. So,
yes.
I mean, you gotta take that
I
how
agree
you take
with you.
that.
Trevor Etienne for sure. I think he's a good player,
Yeah, I do think he's good. I mean, when he's playing, but it is it does feel like he is a guy that's getting just a lot of gas when in all reality, like the tape that we have right now isn't necessarily the most telling for him. Daniel,
I 100% agree with that, Daniel.
Yeah.
You know what the thing is about, and Riley, this about Bubs. Like, this is the problem with Bubs, and this is why everyone should watch the TTT. Everyone falls in love with edge rushers, but the backbone of your defense, the thing that holds your defense together, is always the interior guys, the defensive tackles, the nose tackles. Mason Graham, I watched Mason Graham single-handedly beat Ohio State, just manhandling them up front. And they won the national championship because they finally realized, oh shit, we've got Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Ibuka, all these 5-star wide receivers. all these NFL wide receivers, we need to stop running the ball because our offensive line was very good this year. But Mason Graham is the reason for that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Mason Graham dominated all year. Mason
Absolutely.
Graham is by far the best defensive tackle in this class. No one's talking about him because of his position. But it's like, oh, you need edge rushers. No, because Riley, as we saw in the Super Bowl, and I've been saying this for years.
Yeah.
If an edge rusher beats the tackle one-on-one and is able to get the edge and is able to bend, the quarterback's just going to step up into the pocket. But if you can condense the pocket up front from the middle, he's going to get suffocated. And that's why you need great defensive tackles.
Absolutely not. Mason Graham is a monster, dude. He is a a savant on the defensive line. The way that he plays, that Michigan defense needed him to be any kind of successful.
Yes.
The amount of jobs that he can handle himself on any individual play is kind of crazy. Having a true two-gap defensive tackle in college is crazy. And what I mean by that is he's a guy who, the way he plays, he just naturally disrupts two gaps.
Yes.
Usually because he's just so violent at the point of contact. When the offensive linemen meet the defensive lineman, like in that moment, the way that he reacts and usually the way that he positions himself and the way that he creates space with his body, he's disrupting more than just, the one area that he's standing. He ends up, causing some chaos around. And that's such a big thing. Obviously it's very potent when trying to stop the run. But like you said, man, the NFL is all about that interior pressure because the quarterbacks are so talented.
Yes.
And as you said, edge pressure can be defeated, especially with highly mobile, very talented quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you have to have that interior pressure. And he is one of those guys that's definitely going to create that for you. Daniel saying big sector of the press was also making a big deal about having some less weight than they thought and other stuff. And that's, that's a perfect, tie-in to kind of what we're talking about here with this combine portion of the offseason overhype. Is that's the kind of stuff that they look at this time of the season. And, that's the kind of stuff that drives the media attention.
Yes.
Height, weight statistics, once again, 40 times, the bench press, how many times can they press 225? A lot of people go start freaking out about that. It's insane. It's these workouts, it's these intangible, like physical things that for the most part, people can't help these things. These are just like, this is the combine is just the God-given athlete section of football. That's all that covers. It really doesn't cover like the mental. And, now obviously there's the interviews and stuff like that with coaches and teams.
That's really
that players go through. That's the most important thing of the combine.
Yes.
If you ask most people, like people that actually know and GMs that don't just use Madden to choose who they get, got people that are doing their job and doing it right at the highest level in the NFL. That's all the combine matters to them is these interviews with the athletes to get to know them because being an athlete is one thing, and you're damn skippy that you need to be one of the best athletes in the world to be in the NFL. Yes, you're right, but it's bigger than that for sure. Everyone there is a great athlete, and there's just that the difference maker is no longer athletics. I believe at that line. Like there's only freaks that stand out in athletics at that point. Everyone else is on a very similar scale, and the intangibles are how you play, and you just can't read that from a combine.
No, you can't. You can have great athletes at a combine, but not all great athletes are great football players.
Absolutely.
And not all great football players are great athletes. Like it's not one and the same. And I was about to bring that up, Daniel. Like,
Joe
do you
Burrow
remember
has
Joe
small
Burrow
hands.
with the small hands And he
Yes.
tweeted out that he was contemplating retirement because everyone told him he couldn't play in the NFL.
Dude, those small hands are dangerous. You know,
Dude,
they're
small
so small.
hands, man. Riley,
So
you know what
small.
small hands means.
Yeah, small hands. He means triple crown wide receiver.
But back to Mason Graham, because I just want to talk about this briefly.
Yep.
Everything you just described, right? And you did a great job of describing it. That's why we have you on, because we show love to the Bubs, man. You get it. You know, Mason Graham's a true anchor of an entire defense.
Yeah.
Because Riley, you know this. Like you talked about being a true two-gap player. He's able to hold his ground at the point of attack with 2 offensive linemen, sometimes 3, trying to move him backwards and trying to get him out of his gaps. Not gap, but gaps. Gaps, you know? Yeah. And he's just a defensive anchor.
Yeah.
And that allows your linebackers to roam free and not have to deal with, you know, combo blocks, getting up to the second level. They're free to make plays initially because guys like Mason Graham are just defensive anchors that hold their ground at the point of attack.
Absolutely, man.
It's, yeah.
There's nothing that makes your linebackers better than not being touched by an offensive lineman. And that's what Mason Graham does.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how tall he is. It doesn't matter how much he weighs. Actually, you know what? I got to say that one actually might be a lie. There is kind of a threshold with a defensive lineman, but I've seen his numbers and they aren't that scary. He's not getting that small. But anyways, you know, it doesn't matter how tall you are. It doesn't matter how much you weigh. It matters how you play football. That's the key. And so, you know, that's just that's really the big thesis of this whole thing is that we're trying to teach everybody to not pay attention to these, like, enjoy the spectacle, please. You know,
it's an event.
It's enjoyable, man. Watching the 40s is fun. I'm not saying I don't watch the combine and go, oh my God, look how fast he is. You know, there's nothing to that. An offensive lineman running like a sub 540 is always going to be fun to watch.
Yes.
That's not what makes football players. A sub 540 for an offensive lineman doesn't make him a Hall of Famer.
And the other thing, Riley, we need to talk about, because I don't think people talk about this enough, and then we have to move on.
Yeah.
These guys have been training for these specific events since December.
No. They've been training for these events since high school.
True.
Like, we were doing the combine stuff in high school.
We were.
Like, you learn to do those events when you're a wee football player that you know is still dreaming of being a Madden player more than an NFL player.
but what I mean is, like, after their college season's over, they go to these training facilities and they just live there with trainers who are teaching them technique and how to shave off, you know, 0.5 seconds on all these drills to try to improve your stock. Like, it doesn't translate to football. It doesn't, you know. Are you a good football player? That's what I care about. And that's what NFL teams should care about.
I mean, becoming a better athlete does help. Can you translate becoming a better athlete to the field? Because I feel like, you know, that's something, man. Every once in a while, you see a player do something like, you know, a guy loses a little bit too much weight. You know, we always talk about guys gaining too much weight and looking slower and losing than athletic prowess, but it does go both ways, I think. You know, some guys get, you know, too fast, too light for the britches, and, you know, they seem out of control.
True.
But yeah, no, it's a real thing, man. It's a real thing. Everybody, please be careful as you're watching the news, as you're watching ESPN, as you're, you know, looking at articles, memes, videos on the internet that are giving you a minute here, a minute there, telling you how fast this guy is, how strong he is, how high that guy jumped. Don't listen to it. Don't listen to it. Trust the tape.
Yes.
And that's the only thing you can trust.
Trust the tape. Trust the tape.
Yeah, dude. Actions speak louder than words, and playtime is way better than underwear Olympics. Trust the tape.
So Daniel brought up media hype, and I'm really glad he did, because that's
Yeah,
a
dude.
great segue into what we're going to talk about next for off-season overhype.
Yeah, man, we're still here for the offseason. You know, just because it's new, it's cool.
All right,
That's
Riley,
beautiful.
do you want to set this up or should I?
I mean, I'll go ahead and just let everyone know that apparently the Bears are going to be winning the Super Bowl. That's just what it, that's the obvious thing that we should all know when you see that they have traded for a single offensive lineman, getting all pro guard Joe Thuney from the Chiefs.
4-time Super Bowl champion.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Joe Thuney, a great player. Great player.
Yes.
I mean, this is the thing that we talk about with the Bears. We've talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
There's always this overhype with them when it comes to like one player making the difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is another one where you're like, oh yeah, everyone's gonna be like, oh no way, they're doing great, but it's just one player.
Riley, did you know that one player can fix your entire offensive line? Did you know that?
Apparently, dude. Apparently. That's the Bible over in Hallis Hall. But no, listen, dude, Ben Johnson, we obviously know that Ben Johnson knows what he's doing. At least traditionally, right?
I hope so. I mean, he's never been a head coach, but you would think so coming up under Dan Campbell.
He's seen the light. Let's put it that way, right? Like he has at least seen what it takes. He's been in the organization in an intimate position. And you're hoping he's making this. This does feel like a good move, but there's so much work to be done in Chicagoland. Hallis Hall needs a lot of renovation.
All right, can I go now? I got a lot to say about this.
Absolutely.
So first of all, Joe Thuney, I'm going to put some respect on his name. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler. He's a 4-time All-Pro. He's also a 4-time Super Bowl champion with the Patriots and the Chiefs. He's also 32 years old. He's a great football player, but he's 32 years old. And we're going to talk about this a lot this offseason, Riley. I think I talked about it before. But free agency offensive linemen always scare me.
Yeah.
Because if you're really that good and teams think you can be that much of a difference maker, your old team would have re-signed you. The fact that the Chiefs let him go is a red flag. Like, I think it's a great addition for this year. I don't think he's going to fall off a cliff. But the problem with the Bears is now they're going to be like, okay, he's great. Like, we have the interior solidified. We have a guard. And he's a great guard. But you need 5 offensive linemen, and not just that, you need 5 offensive linemen to be one unit, to be cohesive. Yeah, and
absolutely.
that takes time. That takes development. So I feel like the Bears, and this is the problem I have with not just the Bears, but most NFL teams, they're using this as a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
it's, the best way to completely rebuild an offensive line is to do what the Eagles have done and to do what the Lions have done. They draft offensive linemen. They draft defensive linemen. Yeah. Because guys, it's just natural, bro. Like, it's physics. Like, men that big who can move people like that and who can run that fast and are that athletic, they are very, very rare. Yeah. And so you have to typically get them at the very top end of a draft. And you need multiple of those guys to have a great offensive line. The fact that the Chiefs let him go willingly, to me, is a red flag. And the other thing is this. Now the Bears are going to think they don't have to address the offensive line. They're like, oh,
Absolutely.
we're good. We're good. What they should do is they should hit the offensive line in the draft.
Yeah.
They should get the best available offensive lineman to learn under Joe Tooney, But they're going to be like, oh, we fixed it. It's a Band-Aid, and they think that it's stitches. They think they're good. This is a Band-Aid. He's going to be good for 1, maybe 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years best. I mean, you get 2 years best out of him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
now, this is very much a Band-Aid. And
it is a Band-Aid. But
you're totally right.
Stitches.
He is a piece.
Yes.
That could absolutely Joe Tooney himself, this move isn't bad. The fact that it's going to be their only move on the offensive line is bad. That's just the truth, as you said. And it really is. That's it, man. Like, he could be a great piece. That's a great veteran leader, right?
Yes.
Like, you need that on an offensive line. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
But now you need to draft 4 other offensive linemen to go with him.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, they should make them live together.
I mean, Riley, we watched the Bears this year. I didn't want to watch the Bears, but we watched the Bears. They couldn't run the ball for shit.
No.
And Caleb Williams, he's an athlete. You need athletic offensive linemen to be able to block for him, be able to give him time. Like, I think the Bears are going to see this as a long-term solution when really they need to just hit the offensive line over and over and over again.
Absolutely.
I've told you this, Riley, and I don't know if I've said it on here. It drives me insane. And again, this goes back to the media. Everyone always the media always hypes up like quarterbacks and wide receivers and DBs. And I love DBs. I coach DBs. But they never hype up the offensive line. And then when you get a game like the Super Bowl where the Eagles dominated the Chiefs on the offensive and defensive line, they're like, wow, how did that happen? Because the Eagles hit the trenches every single year early and often in the draft.
Yep.
The Lions have a great offensive line because they hit it every year in the draft. I don't know. I think the best way, and I've said this, and I know you agree with me, the best way to build a team from the ground up to make them a consistent contender for years and years is you have to have a great foundation in the trenches. You have to. You have to.
It's the key. By the way, I'm 100% serious when I say they need to draft 4 other offensive linemen this year. They need to make them and Joe Tooney live together and just see what happens, because that's kind of energy you need out of a team like this. The Bears, they need so much. Now,
they do.
Before we move on, I have another piece of breaking news. I'm letting him read. He's reading.
No.
The Steelers.
Oh my God!
They have another piece.
What the hell?
9-8. Woo! Give them another piece to go 9-8, baby.
What?
Yes,
for a
sir.
second round and pick flips? What?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's crazy, man. Just first you have Antonio Brown, then you have Juju Smith-Schuster, then you have George Pickens, now you have DK Metcalf. The Steelers just attract fucking diva wide receivers.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Hey, man, listen. Hey, DK, back to the offseason overhype, though. DK Metcalf, wow, he has been, a very quality player, 2-time Pro Bowler. But at the same time, a lot of that dude's draft hype came off of not even a picture from the combine. Pictures of him from the combine are what got him his gas.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, listen, for him, one of the rare ones that's, really done something. But also, this past year, didn't have the best season, or definitely a regressive season. So,
he did.
We'll see what he does with the Steelers in their quest to go 9-8.
Wow. That's crazy.
Listen, dude. Mike Tomlin, he knows what he wants, I guess. He's trying to go get him a big wide receiver. He's like, I need you to block.
Yeah. I mean,
Son, we're gonna go 9-8. Hop in.
Riley, we picked the right time to go live. I'm not gonna lie. This is insane.
Yeah. Also, they in breaking on the breaking, they restructured his contract. 5-year, $150 million.
Wow. So it just keeps on going up. It keeps going up.
We'll get to that later, but yeah, it keeps on going
Highest
up.
paid non-quarterbacks, man. That's been 3 in like the past 4 days.
Yep.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Listen, it's the off season and the chaos is happening. The chaos is here. We're here to enjoy it. We're here to break it down, man. We're the Trash Talk Tailgate. We're here to keep you safe as you go through these tumultuous times.
Riley, can I give you a bold prediction?
What?
That will not be the last time the Bears will be on off-season overhype.
Oh, no, sir. No, sir. You know, it's another team that'll never be on off-season overhype.
What?
The Jets, because we gave them their own segment.
You know, thinking is overrated.
That's right. The Jets. I mean, what's wrong with the Jets today?
Oh,
Preston, I mean, this was just a story that you brought to us. I guess I will give a little context that, you know, what's wrong with the Jets today is one of our other new segments, you know, one of the segments we're going to be working with. And as we're thinking about this, you know, thinking about the news that comes through, it just felt like the Jets needed their own special place to be talked about.
Yeah.
For all of the special Jets things they do.
Exactly. So, Riley, we have a few punching bags here on the TTT, and the Jets might be the biggest one.
Yeah.
We just hate bad football here at the TTT. We hate bad football decisions. We hate bad football, just like incompetence. Like we just hate bad football. So, what's wrong with the Jets today, Riley? Well, let me tell you. So, Jordan Travis, who you might remember 2 years ago, was Florida State's starting quarterback the year they went undefeated, and he broke his ankle in a meaningless game. Like it was, you know, broke his ankle against an FCS team late in the year, was out for the year, and the College Football Playoff Committee used that as an excuse to keep an undefeated Florida State Seminole team out of the playoff. And if we have a video on that, so go watch the FSU snub reaction video. You know, we'd really appreciate that. It's one of the biggest videos we've had. And so, you know, Jordan Travis got kicked in the balls a little bit. But then it got worse for him because he got drafted by the Jets. And if that's not bad enough, so he broke his ankle at the end of his last year in college. So he's been rehabbing all year. Now, keep in mind, he's a third-string quarterback behind Aaron Rodgers and our guy, Tyrod Taylor. He's a third-string quarterback. And honestly, probably shouldn't even be the third string because he's been rehabbing an injury. You know? Exactly. Injured reserve. Well, it came out the other day that apparently the Jets coaching staff, now I don't know if this was Robert Saleh or after he was fired. I don't know. But the Jets coaching staff at the end of the year said, hey, Jordan, I don't know why. Keep in mind, he's a third-string quarterback. They said, hey, we need you to get back out onto the field quicker. So they started pressuring him to rush his rehab. Rehab takes time. It's long, it's grueling, it's all of those things. It takes time. You can't rush rehab. You know, it's going to take time. And the Jets were pressuring him. He probably wasn't ready to go. They made him go out and practice anyway. And he re-injured his fucking leg. Who the fuck could have seen that coming?
Yeah, man.
I mean, and I've seen a lot of Jets fans try to defend this like, oh, you know, it's the agent. You know, he's just trying to stir shit. Jordan Travis, he's just trying to get publicity or whatever. It's the Jets. If there's one team in the NFL that deserves zero benefit of the doubt, it's the fucking Jets.
It's the Jets.
If any team was going to screw something like this up, it's the New York Football Jets.
Yeah, dude.
And to make matters worse, like Jordan Travis, he's removed all the Jets stuff from like all his Twitter handles and Instagram stuff. He's washed the Jets from everything. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like he's pretty fucking pissed off.
Yeah, man. He's going to go play in the UFL.
Oh, dude, that'd be
Dwayne
better
The
than
Rock
playing
Johnson
for the
is
Jets.
bringing him. The Dwayne The Rock Johnson is bringing him in with open arms. Jordan Travis, he screwed over Florida State, and now the Jets screwed him.
Dude, how selfish of him to break his leg. What an asshole.
How selfish of him to want to run the score up against an FCS opponent. If he didn't do that, we wouldn't be here.
No.
How about you look in a mirror, Jordan Travis? Just really aggressive. Listen, dude. The Jets have their own special segment for a reason, and that's because they make great decisions. 2 thumbs up. Everything they do, we approve of. Obviously. Yeah, man. Jordan Travis, this is almost as bad as the Chargers trying to kill our boy Ty God.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would say it's worse because they're pressuring him. Like, if you're concerned about Aaron Rodgers as a starter and Tyrod, potentially starting, and then go pick up another quarterback.
Yeah.
Why are you pressuring a guy on IR who's a rookie, who's not going to play for you anyway? Why are you pressuring him to come back and rush his rehab? Go pick up another quarterback.
Yeah, put him on IR, man. Let him heal.
Riley, are we crazy? Like, are we dumb?
I don't know, man. Maybe they have too many IR spots already filled. I don't know, dude.
Dude.
What's the IR limit, and how many people do the Jets have? How much bad ayahuasca can one team get?
I mean, this is. I thought you were going to go in a different direction. I thought you were going to say, oh, God, I wish we had this segment when this happened. I thought you were going to say when the Jets screwed up basic math and didn't get Breece Hall 1,000 yards rushing.
Oh, man, listen, dude.
And then they admitted it, that they screwed it up.
Listen, we could go through an endless bucket of these kind of stories with the Jets, dude. We can. We don't.
Yes.
There's so many places I could have gone with it. I mean, dude, they replaced their old broken offensive line with more old broken offensive line, and then 2 thumbs up their way into a new season just to absolutely suck.
Who was saying that, Riley? Who was saying that the minute it happened? Who said that?
Dude, the Trash Talk Tailgate. We were here trying to let everyone know from the very beginning.
Yep.
But nah, dude, this is no surprise.
No.
Rushing a player back from injury and getting them re-hurt should put you in a special kind of football hell.
Yes.
You get to go sit with Mike Shanahan and talk about whatever. I don't know, whatever old white guy drinking milk for dinner or whatever.
And that doctor that punctured Tyrod's lung.
Yeah, that dude too. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, for sure. But it's just one of those things, man. It's one of those things. I don't know, man. I don't know what else to say for the Jets. They have so much to do this offseason. Obviously, their team is going to look a lot different.
Yes.
By all accounts, there's going to be no Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he's gone. But
yeah,
if they're smart, they start Tyrod. But since they're the Jets, they're not.
They're not going to. No.
They're not going to.
Bringing Sam Darnold back. They want him to see ghosts.
Riley, you know what's crazy? Now, as a former offensive lineman, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just insane.
Maybe.
But if you have a makeshift, not great offensive line, what kind of quarterback do you think would help that? Would help kind of disguise some of the offensive line inconsistencies?
An immovable white quarterback. You need like a real Peyton Manning.
Sure.
Nah, you want someone that can move. You want someone that can be fluid with the play, that allows that can vibe with the pressure. Someone that can bounce it out if they need to. That's the key, man. That's the key when you're working with an old offensive line or an offensive line that's not so great. Is you got to create some pizzazz in the offensive scheme, and mobile quarterbacks are some of the ingredients to that pizzazz sauce.
Yes.
But also, I think the real thing the Jets need to do is go sign another, hopefully not too old, but veteran offensive lineman, and then draft 4 rookies and make them live together, dude.
Yes.
I don't know what else to say. No one wants to take me serious on this. I'm 1,000% serious. Please, dear God, someone address your offensive line. I don't know, man, dude. It's rough watching quarterbacks and running backs getting abused for 60 minutes because an upper level management can't help but draft fast guys.
They can't help themselves, dude.
They can't help themselves.
They can't help themselves.
It's insane.
Riley.
No one wants to invest in the Bubs. It's crazy.
Riley. Does Saquon Barkley have 2,000 yards rushing behind the Giants' offensive line this year?
Did he ever do it when he was on there anyways?
No!
This offensive line is about the same as most of the other ones when he was there. Trash.
What's the difference, Riley? What was the huge difference?
Listen, when you have a player like Saquon Barkley, you put him behind an offensive line like the one that Philadelphia has built with one of the best GMs in the league, Mr. Howie.
Yes.
The dude's a monster, okay? He every offseason he puts on a master class of how to build a great team, and you keep saying the results. I mean, look at this season. Look at the way Saquon Barkley, a running back that most people forgot about. Like he'd been in the league so long, he had been hyped up, crashed, and was damn near forgotten before being traded. And now look, dude. Now look, he almost was a record-setting running back.
Yeah.
2,000 yards, a Super Bowl champion. It makes it makes complete sense. It makes no sense that teams like the Giants, teams like the Jets, teams like the Bears, they don't see it.
They can't help themselves.
They can't help
They get enamored by the underwear Olympics, Riley.
Teams like the Commanders, like 3 years ago, before new ownership and GM structure. I mean, look at our biggest problem was that, and they, with little to no time, one of the first things Adam Peters did last season, as he, got his hands onto the team and was able to finally make moves for us, was try to settle that offensive line. And while he didn't do a great job, or, he did as good of a job as he could, and look what happened.
He also drafted a really athletic mobile quarterback. That helps.
That does help. It
helps.
It helps, man. When you know that you have an offensive line that can be suspect at times, to put it fairly.
Yep.
That's what you got to do, man. You gotta give them a chance to shake out. Very important.
All
right.
Yeah. So Riley, okay. Where are we going next, Riley?
No, I was gonna say, is that all you have for the Jets?
That's all I have for the Jets, man. I will say this: this is not going to be the last time we have this segment with them.
No, this segment's probably going to be every episode. So hang on tight, Jets fans.
Yeah,
we're gonna have some fun.
Hashtag hire the TTT. We can turn the Jets around, man. We can.
Dude, hire the TTT. You got to
hire the TTT.
Please do, man. Let me draft. Let me pick up a veteran offensive lineman and then draft 4 other offensive linemen and make them live together.
So just one. I want to make one quick point about that. So the other day, one of our longtime listeners, OG of the show, Shamar, me and him, we talk about football a lot. We talk about football for hours, and he asked me straight up. He's like, Preston, if you had no roster, like you had nobody on your team, and you could just straight up build a roster like through drafting, how would you go about drafting? And you know what I said, Riley? I'm not bullshitting you. I said my first 8 draft picks, I'm drafting offensive and defensive linemen.
Yeah. Sure. No, I agree though. Like it's the key, man. It's the key. And I mean, someone's got to do it at some point. All right. Moving on.
It could be.
We've got another segment.
We do.
We got another one. It's the last major segment for today. It's going to carry on because it's pretty much going to carry on the rest of what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of it, we should be, joined by a friend. Let's hope it works out.
He's a friend.
We're gonna unveil a new segment called Jazzy Learns Ball, where me and Preston teach our executive producer, Jazzy Jasper Green, some stuff about football.
He's coming.
Play him his. Hold on, I'm gonna do it again. Here we go. All right. Yep. All right. What up, Jazzy?
What's up, boys?
Welcome. All right. So for today's edition of Jazzy Learns Football, we felt like we could use this segment to explain something that we're starting to see really happen right now in this point of the season. And that's going to be what I like to call the contract rush, the salary rush, the gold mine of the NFL, some people would say. Around this time, as the offseason begins and contract season opens up and the NFL is able, the teams are able to wheel and deal, money's able to be introduced. You get these moments where you have teams, they're trying to sign their star players and you get highest paid, then less than a day later, a couple days later, you get another one, you get another one, you get another. It keeps climbing.
It just stacks on itself because they're all elite level players and they all want to be the highest paid.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So from a team perspective, it makes the most sense to try to get the deals done as early as possible. And Riley will tell you. So this was from a few days ago.
Yeah.
Raiders defensive end Max Crosby.
This offseason, there's a couple others, but the big one so far, like the big kickoff one, would be this Max Crosby deal. This is 3-year, $106 million, $91 million guaranteed.
Yep. So that means that out of that $103 million, he gets 91 of it fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the rest of it's just like the last 15 is just like a performance incentive.
Yeah.
Usually it's incentives bonus. Yeah.
It's incentives and bonuses and stuff. But so the number that the players care about is how much money they get fully guaranteed.
So
That's
the big money. And so Max Crosby gets this, becomes the highest non-quarterback in the NFL, the highest non-quarterback salary in the NFL. Then you get another deal.
This happened this morning.
This happened today. Yeah.
This happened today.
$123.5 million guaranteed for Myles Garrett out in Cleveland.
Yes.
He needed the craziest contract ever to keep him in that city. 4 years, $123 million guaranteed. It's 4 years, $40 million per year. So it's 4 years, $160 million with $123 guaranteed.
Wasn't Miles Garrett? Who's what does he play?
He's a defensive end.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
He
I
plays-
was wondering if they replaced the rapist.
No.
No. He was
That's
No,
a
he-
different.
he was the guy in practice
God.
touching him.
They
And not
they
the
have
masseuse
not
the way
replaced
he
Deshaun
wanted.
Watson. They might replace Deshaun Watson in the draft, but that's another conversation.
But
Yeah.
So this happens, right? Boom. Now the ante has been upped. And what we see from here is just explosion after explosion in the same thing. Just today, I mean, if we want to go back talking about DK Metcalf, just today, obviously, he gets his trade to the Steelers. He's now a Steeler. They re-sign his deal. Here we go. He's got 5 years, 150 now.
So
That's a wide
$150
receiver. That's crazy.
Do you think that's a good investment for the Steelers?
Honestly, no, I don't.
All right.
Jasper is a Steelers fan.
R.I.P. my fucking Steelers, dude.
I mean, listen, he can be a great player. So,
He's just very inconsistent.
well, he was with a very inconsistent offense, man. I mean,
That's true.
that team last year was very impressive. He had a regression, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people have regressions. But I think he'll actually do really well with the Steelers just because he's a big body and is pretty aggressive on the outside. I think he will help them, especially in the run game, because I don't think they have a lot of diva wide receivers that don't like to block.
They always have diva wide receivers. They're known for that. But
And he is kind of a diva, but he's still a physical guy.
he's
not
a
scared of
physical beast. It just he doesn't always play up to that potential that he has.
For sure.
So Jasper, do you kind of see it like say you're a huge star athlete and
All right.
you feel that you're better than me, and I'm also a star athlete,
All right.
and I just got paid $150 million, and you see that, and you're like, well, fuck, I'm better than him, but your team comes to you and say, hey, we'll give you 130. What are you gonna say to that?
I'd probably be like, fuck off.
Yeah,
I'm better than Preston.
Exactly.
He just got paid 150.
yeah,
Exactly.
So that's why they try to lock them in early as
yes,
possible.
yes.
Because it could happen down the line and you're gonna piss your players off. The longer you wait, the more bargaining power the players have.
Yes,
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly. So
Yeah.
now think Myles Garrett just got 123 million guaranteed, right? Through 4 years.
Yep.
Right now, actively on the market, you have Trey Hendrickson, who's looking for a
With
trade.
the Bengals.
He's with the
And
Bengals.
he's also
looking
a
for a
pass rusher.
trade.
He led
He's the
league in
same
sacks
position.
last year.
Exactly. He's the same position and statistically better. He's on the market. He's going to be traded, most likely traded from the Bengals to another team. But once he gets to the other
The
team,
Bengals hate Joe Burrow.
yeah, they don't want
They
to give
do.
him anything.
They
no
don't.
help. Can't help him at all. Absolutely. Got to keep no help for him as much as possible.
Mhm.
So they're most likely going to trade him. Once he goes to a new team, he is getting a new contract. So
Yeah.
that new team, whoever's wheeling and dealing for him, has to think, well, now Myles Garrett, 120 million, 123 guaranteed over 4 years. That's on their brain. That's on his brain. And you have Joey Bosa,
Yeah.
former Charger, just got released by the Chargers. Another talented edge rusher, same position, a guy that is highly respected in the league. Now, listen, he's someone who's had some interesting regression seasons, but him and his brother, now the 49ers, they're talking to him. Those numbers are right there on the table. So now he gets to use, someone else's numbers to help him get a couple more, probably a couple more million.
He gets more leverage now because
Yeah.
he's like, well, I'm a fucking great player.
I bet
You
you
know?
he gets an extra $5 million on his contract just because Myles Garrett signed that contract today.
Exactly.
It's that kind of stuff. And that's what we get. That's why, the market, the bubble in the contracts for professional sports, at least specifically football, that's kind of where you get it. It's this internal pressure between players and their contracts, like superstars specifically, the way that they can drive up the price for each other. So it's really the players are competing against each other, but really they're just helping each other get more money. They're it's really the players versus the league, as you know, it's always is, right? The players versus the ownership versus the man. Some would
It's
say
like the opposite of a fucking shitty pizza parlor job. It's like, don't talk about how much you're being paid with the employees. Like how much you're being paid is fucking broadcast on like national
Literally,
news.
dude.
Exactly. They see it. Like, and so Jasper, you want to hear something crazy?
Sure.
So right now, the highest paid quarterback in the NFL is Dak Prescott with $60 million a year. That's really fucking expensive.
Yeah.
And you could argue it's probably not the best because Dak Prescott, he's not worth that money. You know how much money Patrick Mahomes is making?
How much?
$45 million a year because the Chiefs locked it in years ago.
Mm.
And they broke records when they did it.
Yeah.
I mean, that hit, but still, just because they broke records, 2 years before it, the price tag is so much smaller just in that period of time.
Because every year it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Just keeps going.
And so I'm better than him. I want
to go off of your point with Dak Prescott because that's a perfect segue. Dak Prescott had that, that fat contract that Preston's talking about. So now let's look to this year. Someone like Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's on the market. He's, the 49ers are in a weird spot. They could make him continue on a 5th-year extension option from his rookie contract and make him take a less cut of money, but no one's going to be happy. That's going to create weird tension. That's not the good thing to do, right? But they could do it. But they have to negotiate a deal with this guy now. This dude, I'm going to say is unarguably better than Dak Prescott.
Oh, 100%.
I will say Brock Purdy is unarguably better. So now Brock Purdy gets to use Dak Prescott's contract with the Cowboys, who are stupid, to use against the 49ers to try to get himself more money, even though, he's not necessarily seen as that great of a quarterback, but just statistically, he's I've won more games. I've gotten my team into the playoffs and championship games.
He went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he did.
Exactly. Like, I've done that. Like, how is he going to get paid and I'm not? So, that's really this is the contract rush that you see in the NFL. It's this constant battle to try to secure top talent to make sure that you're not getting screwed with the biggest check at the end.
Yeah. So that's why the Eagles
Cat fell.
So that's another reason why the Eagles are so successful is because the Eagles are smart. They have a really smart GM. They lock in their players early because players, they like long-term security. That's why you see them sign like 3-4 year deals. They might take a little bit less money to get that security. You know what I mean? But so they're always going to be willing in most cases, if the team does right by them, they're going to be willing to lock in those contracts early, knowing that their salary is going to get surpassed by other players.
Does
honestly, that make sense?
Yeah.
So
we also just completely walked by a great example of the quarterback thing too with Josh Allen, who just got his contract. Back to it, the breaking news from literally this live stream. His big contract, that money is affected by deals like the Dak Prescott deals like the Patrick Mahomes deal, the Joe Burrow deal. He gets to use all of these and compare his statistical performance with all of these other players with these crazy contracts to help boost his money.
Yep. Look at that, dude. $250 million guaranteed.
Over 6 years. That's great.
That's insane. Like
that's generational wealth right there.
Yeah, Haley Steinfeld is going to be a very happy woman. She's going to be very happy.
Also free Joe Burrow.
Yeah, so I want to talk about that. Yeah. So I want to make 2 points, Riley. You talked about Brock Purdy. Do you have the quarterback thing I sent you?
Yeah, when the hell is Joe Burrow's contract up?
He just signed one last year. So Joe Burrow currently is the second highest paid quarterback in the league. These are all the quarterback contracts year by year. Brock Purdy, you have to go all the way down because he was drafted. He was the last pick in the NFL draft. And how the draft contracts work is if you're a first round pick, you get millions of dollars. You get a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
But if you're the last pick in the draft,
Holy
you're
shit.
not even making $1 million.
Damn.
Yeah. So Brock Purdy makes $900,000 a year.
Damn.
Now remember, we just said Dak Prescott makes $60 million. He hasn't done shit compared to Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, the Cowboys in general haven't been to a Super Bowl in 30 years.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy was there 2 years ago.
I know the name.
900,000.
This
It was reported initially that the 49ers offered Brock Purdy $45 million a year. And if you're Brock Purdy, what do you say to that?
I want more money.
Yeah.
That's what you say.
You say go fuck yourself.
Mm.
Like you said.
and he's
So
not even
that's the
making
Brock
money.
Purdy situation. So
So
that's
he's,
all right.
he's in for like a monster raise.
yes.
I gotta say, hold on. Can we just name some of the names ahead that make more money than Brock Purdy?
Felipe Franks. Your guy
Bailey
Sam
Zapp.
Howell. Ben DiNucci.
Ben DiNucci. That was what I
Oh
was
my!
gonna pull out.
Jake Fromm.
Jordan
No
Travis.
way.
Jordan
Oh my.
Travis. Spencer Rattler.
Hey, don't talk shit about Spencer Rattler.
Spencer Rattler.
Stetson Bennett.
Jeff Driscoll.
John.
I don't even think he's still
Walker?
playing.
That's oh my god. That's Malik Will. Oh my god. That's ridiculous.
Carson Wentz.
And see
Taylor
all the
Heineke.
quarterbacks.
A lot of those are like second and third string guys.
Yes.
Yes,
Just because
almost all
Brock
of them.
Purdy was
Every one of them.
drafted in the last round of the draft.
Yeah.
He has a set salary based on that round.
Yeah.
So
Marcus
for a
Mariota.
future.
Tyrod
he's in for
Taylor.
a monster raise. There's Tyrod. So Jasper, to your point about free Joe Burrow, I also want to talk about this. The reason the Bengals are in such predicament is because they don't wait. They don't lock in their guys early.
Yeah.
They locked in Joe Burrow, but that was because the whole city of Cincinnati would have burned that city to the ground if they didn't do right by Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Like they at least gave him their money. You know, they gave him his money. But now you have Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase just won the Triple Crown in the NFL for the best receiver in the league. And, you know, and his contract is going to be up pretty soon. So
Yeah.
he's in for a monster race.
And they were buddies, right?
Yes, they're buddies. Their other receiver, T. Higgins, he's up for a huge deal because he's one of the best receivers in the league. And then Trey Hendrickson, who we just saw Myles Garrett get $150 million guaranteed. Well, Trey Hendrickson had a better year than Myles Garrett did. So he wants to get paid. So the problem with the Bengals is because they didn't lock these guys in early, they could have locked these guys in some cases 2 years ago and not have to deal with this.
Yeah.
But now the market is so inflated that they're probably not going to be able to pay all of them what they want.
Yeah.
And so all that's going to do is fuck over Joe Burrow
Yeah.
because the Bengals were incompetent and didn't do good business strategy. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, they didn't. So they made the bad decision of they're a poverty franchise. They didn't lock their guys in, and so now these guys are seeing what other teams are paying their players.
Yep.
And they're going to be like, time to pay me.
It's my turn. Yeah.
And the Bengals are going to be like, we're cheap as fuck.
Yep.
And then they're going to lose these guys, and then Joe Burrow's going to fucking get angry and probably leave.
Yeah, dude.
Which I want to see Joe Burrow in a Super Bowl, and
I do too.
Yeah,
We love
next year.
TT.
Next year, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins contracts are up with nothing they can do about it. Like they franchise tagged T. Higgins this year, which is just a fancy "F you have to stay here" kind of deal.
It's a 1-year deal, basically.
Yeah.
You know,
And
I said
essentially what
guys
they
want
do is
security with
Yeah.
long-term deals. The Bengals
It's-
franchise tag T. Higgins, who's their other great receiver. So he's going to make $26 million this year, but it's a 1-year deal. And so the thing is, guys want security because football, as we say on the TTT, it's an inherently violent sport.
Yeah.
Like $26 million, like you want to be locked in you want that money guaranteed, not just on a 1-year deal. Because
Yeah.
T. Higgins could get hurt this year, never play football again. And he's never going to get that long-term deal.
Yeah.
So they
Also-
want to lock that in.
Also, none
Does that
of his
make
money
sense?
this year is fully guaranteed. So he's kind of just in a terrible position. If he gets hurt or anything, he's screwed.
Yep.
So it's like franchise tagging is just such an FU to a player.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the contract rush. I mean, this is what you get. And I mean, if you want to look at
So the highest paid Riley, hang on.
Yeah.
Go back to Justin Jefferson real quick. I just want to make this point. So Justin Jefferson, he's the highest paid wide receiver. He's a beast. He makes $35 million a year. Jamar Chase thinks he's better than him, and he has a right to think that he won the award for having the best statistical wide receiver season this year. So he's going to want $40 million a year.
Yeah.
But if you would have paid Jamar Chase last year, you probably could have got him for 30. Like Brandon Ayuk, he signed last year. Jalen Waddle signed for $28 million last year. You see how much cheaper that is?
Yeah.
28 or 30 as opposed to 40.
Yeah.
Like,
but they're also riding that danger.
Everyone knew the Bengals were doing the wrong thing, but they did it anyway.
Yeah.
And now they've kind of fucked themselves. And in turn, they fucked Joe Burrow.
Well, that's kind of the Bengals' whole thing is fuck Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
They hate that man.
I mean, they paid him so much money to fuck him. It's insane how much money they paid Joe Burrow just to rail him.
Yeah,
I mean,
just to make him suffer.
Yeah, dude.
Joe Burrow might cry, but at least you can take the $100 bills and
Bro, imagine making $60 million a year.
I just need 1 year of that.
Dude,
just 1 year of that.
Give me half a year of that.
But yeah. So Riley, where do we want to go next?
I mean, it's we just got a bunch of stuff. Yeah. So this kind of goes on it. This is one of the bigger offensive line signings of this year so far. 3 years, $60 million. I mean, for a left tackle, that's an interesting kind of an interesting read on the market for left tackle. Now, left tackle is one of the highest paid positions in football. If we go back to this Andy Trusty scale, the top end, you're getting like 27 a year, right? Like all these dudes are 20. But a guy like him in an older market, like this is a guy that even a couple years ago probably wouldn't have pulled this much just because of the way the market was. He's a 9-year veteran. That's almost 20 years in offensive lineman years.
Yep.
I mean, you double for the lineman. And so, these are big investments, and there's a reason why you invest in the left tackle specifically. If you ever watch the movie The Blind Side, that's kind of like one of their lead hooks in the movie, is talking about them being the most important player. And there's a lot of teams that right now need good linemen, and because of the nature of the market, man, they are premium. Left tackle is one of those positions. Just because of the nature of the market, most of these teams are kind of stuck having to draft a left tackle because they can't afford it, because the market's it's too the market's gotten away from them, and a lot of teams are just kind of outpriced in some of the positions because teams like the Bengals or the Cowboys. I think that's a great example of this. They spent so much money in their skilled positions where they broke the bank and they don't have the change that they need, the cheddar, to step up.
They don't have money for the Bubs.
You got to pay the Bubs.
You have to pay the Bubs, and
you got to pay the Bubs, man.
And
you got to roll with the market.
Yeah. So Riley, I want to go back. Remember my point I made with the Joe Thuney signing?
Yep.
For the trade.
Absolutely.
The Ravens, they had Ronnie Stanley, and they made a conscious effort to keep him.
Yep, exactly.
He's a damn good football player.
Again,
it goes back to my point. If an offensive lineman hits the open market, there's typically a reason for that.
Especially a veteran.
Yes. Yes. I mean,
because if you trust veterans, you trust the veteran. You don't want to lose a veteran offensive lineman.
No,
it's just like Lamar Jackson didn't want to lose Ronnie Stanley. He's got trust. He's got faith. They have chemistry. And so they keep him, you know. That's stuff that Preston's right, man. That's something you got to pay attention to with veteran offensive linemen. You know, I think it's a lesson the Commanders kind of got with Andrew Wiley, another, you know, a couple seasons ago, a veteran tackle from the Chiefs. You know, he was part of some of the Chiefs Super Bowl teams, and, you know, he goes and we pick him up, and everyone's expecting, you know, great big monster things, but in reality, he had a regression season just because he's an older guy, man. There's a reason why they let him go. He was regressing, but, you know,
and
this
Riley,
is big for Ronnie Stanley, though. Thumbs up.
I think everyone needs to hear this. Despite what fans might think or what fans might say on Reddit or Twitter, whatever, you know who knows a player better than anyone else? The team that he plays for.
True.
So if they let him go, there's a reason, especially an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
So I'm just warning you, Bears fans. I wouldn't get my hopes up.
They should know not to get their hopes up. They should know that.
But they don't, dude. They don't, dude. They love the pain.
I feel like they're just constantly getting scammed. like your team's been bad for like 50 years. And it's like, we're back. We're really good this year, guys. We got Caleb Williams. And then you actually you buy the YouTube TV to watch fucking football, you know, and then what? It's just more suffering. You might as well be a Jets fan.
Are you saying that the Chicago Bears are the Nigerian princes emailing you?
Yes, they are. They are the Nigerian princes of football.
All right.
That's awesome. All right, Riley, I'll let you talk about this.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is one of those things, one of the beautiful trades of the offseason. The Commanders are picking up Deebo Samuel from the 49ers. A trade that is, you know, a pretty solid trade. There wasn't a lot of capital that we gave them. We are taking on a contract that's a little chunky, coming in at $23 million a year. But I mean, we need a new running back, so I'm kidding. we need a new running back, so we brought in Deebo Samuel. No, I mean, he's just such a powerful weapon, and an offense, especially an offense like the Commanders, like the one that we're running with Cliff Kingsbury. We're just anybody that can be versatile like him is gonna, I think, thrive in the system that we have going right now. And we really do, man. We needed someone else, and so, you know, I like this move. Deebo is a great gadget guy. I mean, he's a solid wide receiver, but he's a great gadget guy. And that kind of person can really help your offense open up.
Are you worried that he might be washed at all? He didn't have a great year this year.
He didn't have a great year this year, but the 49ers were a team that just was in turmoil. There was some bad juju around this team. So he might be washed. And listen, you know what? We didn't lose anything. I think it was a 4th round pick. That's 5th round pick. It was a 5th round pick. We traded a 5th round pick. He's got an all right, but we have money. You don't want to waste it, but we have money. So it's not like it's going to murder us if we do lose it. It's worth the gamble, man. He's a guy that's worth a gamble, I think.
Well, you bring up a great point, Riley, because I think a lot of fans need to hear this. They don't fully understand it. The Commanders are one of the teams this year that has a lot of cap space. Yep. What we mean by cap space is a lot of money that you have that you're not paying to players. Mm-hmm. So you can allocate that money to try to pay different players and try to build your roster and improve it. You know, like signing free agents from other teams.
Yeah.
A lot of fans kind of think that, oh, we have a lot of cap space, we should just spend our money. Well, the danger you have of that is signing bad contracts to players that might not be as good as they used to be. Because, again, there's a reason typically they're on the open market. Because if they were a real difference maker, their old team would have kept them, you know? So I think
it's like Facebook Marketplace for elite athletes.
Yeah. I mean, you know, occasionally, I got to say, occasionally you just have a guy that just doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
or they're just not, the team can't afford them.
Who
You
is
know,
that
sometimes-
guy that the Jets got rid of and then went on to be an absolute monster for the Eagles?
Oh, Mekhi
Guy
Becton.
Becton. Yeah.
yeah.
Mekhi
So I guess
Becton.
you run into situations like that. You're saying like,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think there's
That was
certain
more so the
positions
Jets just being the Jets.
for sure. But you get some superstars that just want a different atmosphere. Like Tyreek Hill. I mean, granted, he kind of did regress, but he's a guy that I think, if you played in a consistent offense, he would have put up another consistent season. If you didn't have to deal with whatever was going on down there in Miami this year. And he didn't look that bad. It didn't look like he was like super off besides, a little injury.
No.
But yeah, so I think Debo's one of those. I think they just had the 49ers had too much money. They were going, I think they're close to being negative cap space, if I'm not mistaken. And so they need to get rid of players. Like they're in the opposite position of a team like the Commanders, where the Commanders have all this room to buy. They can honestly, they could wait and see what happens with the market because they can counter big contracts right now with the amount of money they have.
Yeah.
The 49ers are in the exact opposite position. They need to get rid of people to give themselves space to hopefully compete for someone and hope that someone will, take maybe a break off of their potential to come play for a team like the 49ers and a coach like Kyle Shanahan. So yeah, that's a lot to say. Debo Samuels, welcome to Washington.
Yeah. I know you're excited, Riley. I mean, Riley, like I'm really happy for you.
Yeah, listen, dude.
Your team had a very unexpected year last year, a very unexpected playoff run too.
We saw the beginning of it. We were there.
And we have the money and the positioning to do great things in the offseason. And I'm glad to see us at least making a move. Adam Peters is a smart GM, man. That's one thing that he proved when he put together that team in San Francisco that he's currently dismantling almost single-handedly himself and bringing it over here to the Commanders organization. So, like, that's another reason why I trust it, man. Adam Peters is the dude who found Debo the first time.
Yep.
Like, that's something.
Oh, Riley, as a Clemson fan, you knew about Debo.
Absolutely. Listen, the sack of South Carolina speedster. Yeah, dude. He's a monster. He's a monster for the Gamecocks. But Adam Peters was the guy that brought him. He was the guy that pulled the trigger on him the first time. This is kind of a homecoming for Debo if you want to talk about GM staffs.
Yep.
So
he's back on the East Coast.
I see potential for good. I think the Commanders definitely won this trade. I think the value that they're going to get from Debo will definitely probably outweigh whatever 5th round pick, unless it happens to be one of those amazing diamonds in the rough that you just can't expect in the 5th round, So, yeah.
Can I make a point, Riley? I just want to make one point.
Yeah, please.
Everything you said, I agree with. The one thing that I think you need to address is you know another huge benefit of having all that cap room.
Yep.
Is the fact that guys are going to want to come play there because you have a stud young quarterback.
Yep.
Veterans, they want to win. Jaden Daniels can help them win.
Also, we did lose veteran defensive lineman Jonathan Allen a few days ago. We released him, but that freed up another $13 million in cap space. And that the way that move happened makes me think that there's something potentially in the works. So I'm interested to see what happens. But yeah, man, there's a lot of players.
Myles Garrett? Oh no, he just signed. Yeah,
he just signed.
Yeah.
I wish, right?
I'm stupid. Yeah.
Nah, but you're good. But there's a lot of players. Trey Hendrickson.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, listen, dude, he's on the market. He needs a team.
He's not going back to the
Bengals,
I don't think.
No, he's not. He's actively seeking for a trade. He's still on the Bengals. They need a trade for him. And once again, we've got the money and we've got extra draft picks. We got the stuff. Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about all I got for that, though.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy move the Vikings are most likely moving on from Sam Darnold.
Yep.
He's seeing ghosts.
He is seeing ghosts. And with the Seahawks trading Geno Smith to the Raiders, it's now kind of being reported that Sam Darnold is looking to go to the Seahawks to be their starter, which I think would be a horrible move.
Well, listen,
Because
we got a whole thing on the Seahawks, and I think honestly, I mean, this is the news. Sam Darnold, the Vikings are moving away.
Yeah.
It's kind of, but they have JJ McCarthy, who's sat an entire season rehabbing from an injury and prepping to take over the reins. Obviously, they signed.
Wait, Riley, you're telling me that the Vikings didn't rush JJ McCarthy's rehab and he didn't get hurt?
Again? No, sir. And obviously, they have Daniel Jones, who I would be scared to leave the reins of my team to, but he's there.
Oh, yeah.
So, Sam Darnold letting him walk is all right. And I think you're right, Preston. This segues perfectly into something I wanted to talk about, which is the current dismantling of last year's Seahawks team.
The Seattle Seahawks, dude.
So first, we got the news.
Fans
the Raiders
off the Space Needle.
Yeah, that Raiders had got Geno Smith for a 3rd-round pick.
Yes.
So news bit 1, they lose their quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
News bit 2, that's not it.
The DK Metcalf trade.
No, news bit 2, I actually don't have it. This is on me.
It was Tyler Lockett getting released.
Tyler Lockett released. Yeah. So news bit 2 is wide receiver 3 being dropped. News bit 3 is DK Metcalf being offered up.
Wide receiver number 1.
Yeah, they're being offered up for a trade. And then, of course, today being traded to the Steelers.
Yep.
So in 3 days, they have lost their quarterback and 2 of their wide receivers. And now they've got to replace the quarterback. They don't have anything else.
No.
I don't even know who their backup is right now. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But they need a quarterback.
Segment. Or
we're about to be.
Okay.
We're about to be. Yeah.
It's we're almost done with the whole thing, anyways.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. We're still talking about contracts.
I'm just existing.
Yeah, dude. No, we're explaining it to you.
True.
Yeah.
You enjoy yourself. Hey, man, we all love your face.
Exactly.
If you have any questions as we talk, just ask them.
Yeah, just ask. That's why we're here. It's the.
But So the Seahawks are just being dismantled, and it's kind of crazy. I've never seen a team break apart this quick.
Yeah.
I mean, dismantle, dude. This is like driving down the interstate, losing both tires, and then the whole axle falling off after that.
Yeah,
so they lost all 3 of their.
They lost 2. They lost their quarterback and their 2 starting receivers.
So their offense is fucked.
Yeah, because they don't have an offensive line either.
Oh,
we're gonna get to that.
Yeah, well, that's where we're at.
No, he shouldn't.
Yeah, no, their offensive line was trash last year. It was inconsistent last year.
It's been trash since Russell Wilson was in his prime.
For sure. Yeah, man. That's why they didn't run the ball on the 1 yard line. So they have a decent running back. So that's they have a decent running back. Hey, cool. They have Jackson Smith and Jigba at wide receiver. He was a talented young guy this year who had an all right rookie season. Dude, that could definitely step up as wide receiver 1 and have a big season. Maybe.
Maybe. But they don't have a quarterback.
But they don't. They have to go find a freaking quarterback. They either have to draft him or sign him, whatever they do. They need to rebuild their offensive line.
Yes.
And that's not even taking into consider the other side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean like Brian Murphy, their rookie D tackle last year. He was in Defensive Rookie of the Year consideration. I really like him. I like Devin Witherspoon, a corner they got a few years ago. He's really young. But other than that, they don't have Bobby Wagner anymore. Obviously, they don't have the Legion of Boom anymore. That's years ago.
Long gone. Yeah.
And Riley, to my point, I don't really understand the Seahawks logic because Sam Darnold is a statue. You're going to put Sam Darnold, a guy who is notorious for crumbling under pressure and seeing ghosts, as he said, you're going to put him behind that offensive line. That's a horrible idea.
Absolutely.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either, man.
That's why they should hashtag hire the TTT.
It is.
They should hashtag hire the TTT, dude. They
I love
absolutely
the team,
should.
by the way, Jazzy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, dude. This is this is just. I mean, I don't have much else to say. We're just gonna have to see how it plays out because they need a lot. But
All right, Shamar.
R.I.P. Shamar. This is true.
Yeah. The Seahawks, their staff should be. Their seats are burning, dude. Their butts are scolding.
Well, Riley,
seats are
it's
so hot.
almost like firing Pete Carroll 2 years ago was the absolute worst thing they could have done. Pete Carroll's a legendary Hall of Fame coach, and they're like, nah, we're good. And now he's with the Raiders, and that's the other point I want to make. I'm happy for Geno Smith because he gets reunited with Pete Carroll with the Raiders.
Yeah,
so
dude,
I'm happy for him.
Pete Carroll snipes his quarterback from the feet of the oppressors.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what the Seahawks are doing, but it's not good.
It's not good, man.
I don't get it.
All right. Hands up. We did it. This is it, folks. Thank you for tuning in to the first off season.
Hey, I just want to say this, and I think Jasper will echo this. We haven't forgotten about y'all. I know we've been on a hiatus the last few weeks, but we've been planning shit like this. We have a whole lot more stuff coming down the pipe. We have more segments that we're going to debut. We're really, really excited. We're going to have more structure. We're going to have more support, more help. We're really, really excited about
We just
this.
hired a new executive producer / consultant. Very excited.
Look at Daniel, dude. It's 2 a.m. where he's at, and he's watching the TTT.
We got real dedicated fans.
We do, dude. Shout out to Daniel. We really appreciate you.
And speaking of the Jets, we got something real special cooking for the Jets.
Oh, we do, dude.
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
It's been cooking since before this last season.
Yeah, dude.
It has
time
been.
coming Jet sauce.
It's been.
We hope it's rocket fuel. Let's just say that.
We do.
Jet fuel,
dude.
absolutely.
We're really excited about this year of the TTT. We didn't forget about y'all. We've been just in the lab cooking all this new shit that we got going on. We're really, really excited about it.
Chef in the lab.
Riley, got anything to say?
Man, appreciate everybody for tuning into this first live stream back. We appreciate all of the support that everyone's given us on this path. The Trash Talk Tailgate. It's been one heck of a ride, and it's only ramping up from here. This live stream has been great, but from me, from the doctor, from Jazzy, the Trash Talk Tailgate as a whole, we're going to get out of here, y'all. Peace.